Shouldn't this be roll call? Yes, yeah, those should be. I just didn't copy it over. No apologies. Yeah, anything under there is
Change
roll.
orders aren't.
No, they are. All those are.
Oh, all of them.
Yeah, all those are.
No, you, well, I just wanna, we need to sort this out.
Okay, just get
Yeah.
more and more used to it.
Yeah, so anything under approval of warrants is roll call.
Kevin.
Is audit bad?
By the way, did Historical Society like those pics?
Yeah, she loved them. Kristen thought they were amazing. She was geeking out over them.
That's good.
I wonder who would summarize the warrants.
Is Kevin here?
He's coming.
And then,
He's trying to find Bruce.
How about Dick White the back?
Aaron's sick. She texted me this morning.
And then sleeping here then?
You going?
Good morning, Joe. Morning, Tom.
I heard you were circling the block.
A little bit. Yeah, half of the people in this meeting though are circling as well. Sure.
Hey, sir.
Okay, 2 paperclip packet.
We,
Never seen that before.
so it'll be, it should have been double-sided. It's only one-sided, so we've communicated that.
It was nice to have the whole Terra LLC questions in there.
There you go. Now's the opportunity to invest.
Exactly.
We'd do all that work.
Interesting. I like that.
everybody ready?
Good, how you doing, man?
Did we get all the adjusting entries, everything all done yet, or?
That tax revenue one's proving difficult. You knock a tree down again?
Oh,
Talk to you. You knock a tree.
Okay.
We just don't have any. You knock it down history where he's pulling
we may need
from.
him to have to.
Pass this down and sign it
Right.
in blood.
Literally thinking that.
Don't worry, don't read the fine print.
No. I'm not supposed to even hold a pen.
Well, you're signing with your left then.
Let's get started, everyone.
Here,
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the regular monthly summer meeting of the Ada Township Board, trustees, and other members. Could we all please stand for a moment, for the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence. Clerk DeMarco, will you please call the roll?
Supervisor Ford,
Here.
Clerk DeMarco here. Treasurer Moran,
Here.
Trustee Prose,
Here.
Trustee Hurwitz.
Here.
Trustee Carter.
Here.
You sure? Yeah. Trustee Damstra is absent.
Thank you. We have an agenda in front of us with a number of items. There's no requirement to change this agenda, so it's the agenda as presented. Would someone move to approve as presented?
So moved. Second.
All right, thank you. Moved by trustee Hurwitz, supported by trustee Carter to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. All right, we're going to go on to the general township business. It's the motion to approve minutes and accept and file reports, communications under the consent agenda. Includes the approval of the township board meeting minutes from June 8th, 2026, and the following. Planning commission meetings from May 21st, the Thornapple Pedestrian Bridge meeting minutes number 10 from June 10th, the Thornapple River Pedestrian Bridge meeting minutes number 11 from June 26th, Covered Bridge Park Progress Meeting, number 21 minutes, till June 18th. The Grand River Drive Trail Improvements Progress Meeting, number 3 minutes from June 10th. The Knapp Street Pedestrian Bridge Kickoff Meeting minutes from June 26th. And the Revenue and Expense Report as of June 30th, 2026. Does anyone have any questions or comments on any of those? And if not, would someone move to approve all these items?
I move to approve the minutes and accept and file reports and communications under the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. We have motion by trustee Prose, supported by trustee Carter to approve the reports and communications under the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. All right, we're going to move on to the approval of the warrants. The first one is the township general warrants. Would Treasurer Moran, will you please present the warrants?
Thank you, Supervisor Korth. Today, July 13th, 2026, we have hand checks that total $1,093,821.05 and warrants that total $964,197.27 for all checks and warrants totaling $2,058,018.32.
These items are detailed in the revenue expense report as well as the summary of the warrants. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, this is a roll call vote. Clerk DeMarco, will you please call the roll?
No,
Need a motion to approve.
Pardon me. Can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the checks and warrants for, as of Monday, July 13th, 2026, in the amount of $2,058,018.32.
support.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We have a motion by trustee Carter, supported by trustee Prose, to approve the general township warrants. All right, now we're ready for the roll call vote.
Trustee Carter?
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz?
Aye.
Trustee Prose?
Aye.
Treasurer Moran?
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Supervisor Korth?
Aye. All right, the next item is to consider the Conservation Boardwalk Replacement Project Change Order Number 1, Riverworks Construction to balance original contract items to as-built quantities for a project deduction of $6,970.
Thank you, Supervisor Korth. Ryan Aarons, Moore and Brugink, Township Engineer. As you mentioned, had before you change order number 1 and final for the Conservation Boardwalk Replacement Project. This change order balances contract quantities to as-built quantities, and we did end up slightly under the original contract amount. The change order is for a negative $6,970. That resulted in Riverworks Construction. They were able to eliminate the helical piles we had set up, and they were able to utilize standard timber piles in location of the helical piles by offsetting their pile driving equipment to avoid the power lines that were above. So this change order closes the project out and, like I said, balances everything to as-built quantities.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments?
I think Bob should this, and we got a deduction here.
Yeah. Well, I certainly like deductions. Move approval of change order number 1, a deduction of $6,970 on the Riverwork construction.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by trustee Prose, supported by trustee Carter, to approve the change order for the Conservation Boardwalk Improvement Project. This is a roll call vote.
Supervisor Korth?
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Treasurer Moran?
Aye.
Trustee Prose?
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz?
Aye.
Trustee Carter?
Aye.
Okay, Thank you. All right, the next one is consider the Cover Bridge Park change order number 10 from Caterberg Verhaeg.
No,
Sorry, consider
the final.
Conservation Boardwalk Replacement Project final pay, it's a pay application for that boardwalk, application number 3 for Riverworks Construction, the amount of $39,329.75, which I'm assuming reflects the deduction. Correct?
Yes, that is correct. Thank you Supervisor Korth. Again, Ryan Aarons, Moore Brugink, Township Engineer. With the approval of that change order on the Conservation Boardwalk Replacement Project, we now have the final pay recommendation. It's pay recommendation number 3 and final in the amount of $39,329.75. Riverworks Construction completed the boardwalk and has addressed all of the punch list items that we identified at our May 26th final inspection. So we're recommending full payment and release of all retainage. So that total amount would be $39,329.75.
Ryan, I got a problem with releasing the retention.
Okay.
You know, in a final pay app, we gotta keep this for a little while, just to make sure nothing shifts, no boards warp. Let's get through a little season. Fair is fair, and there's another pay app later in here where it's not completion, but it's pretty close for the similar type trail construction. All along, we've always withheld 5%, 10% at the beginning, and get so far in the project, we reduce that. But to break away from that is a break away from the norm, and it's miraculous how all of a sudden, if there's no money out there and something happens, that now we're liable for it. And to call the contractor back is a charge, where if we withhold something and as part of the project, then it becomes common sense that they would fix it in order to get their retention. How long do we hold it for? I'm not an expert. We would come to you for that, but I believe we should hold it for at least through the fall season, and perhaps even into spring, where the fluctuations in the earth and the movement causes it. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything else to the contractor, because they've done a good job. However, common sense and consistency is what I'd like to strive for. I don't know if any of the other board members agree or disagree, but it's
Just as a note, Bob, so I mean, typically when we do the final pay application, we pay the final amount. The items you might be speaking to would be covered under warranty, which would be for, I believe, a year
So
from.
the warranty in the contract, the legal and binding contract specifies 1 year from final inspection. So the warranty would be good until May 26th of 2027, at which point basically the contractor is liable for any repair replacement.
I was just concerned about that.
Yep. So typically, I mean, what we've done is we do pay the final pay application, and then anything else would fall under warranty. Typically, the only thing we've held retainage for has been lawn restoration or yard restoration that might, go from the fall into the spring. But typically, when the project's complete, we do the final pay app once the punch list items are done, and then anything else would be covered under warranty.
I'm fine with that.
Does the contract specify that we pay the retainage at the end?
When the project's complete.
Yeah, when the project's complete and all, basically they've satisfied our final inspection list.
And we believe that's where we're at.
Yeah. So if, as Mr. Prose said, if something does happen over the course of the fall, winter, spring, it then becomes a warranty-related issue.
Okay. I think it's a good discussion, but I'll make the motion to approve pay application number 3 for 39, I got this right? Yeah, 39,329.75, $39,329.75 for the Conservation Boardwalk replacement. This is application number 3.
Support.
All right, thank you. We have the motion by trustee Prose, trustee Carter, supported by treasurer Moran. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Korth,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz,
Aye.
Trustee Carter.
Aye.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, now we're ready to move on to consider the Covered Bridge Park change order number 10 from Caterpillar to Hague to add water fountain relocation, snow melt system capping, restroom building electrical adjustment for a project increase of $5,635.
Good afternoon, Peter Shapansky, Project Manager, Progressive Companies on the Ada Covered Bridge Park. Here is change order number 10. It covers the 3 items as mentioned. The relocation of existing water fountain. There was one in front of the restroom building. We thought we could work around it through conversations with Caterberg and through just kind of talking means and methods of how they were planning on building it. It just made much more sense to remove it instead of potentially damaging it because we have to pour more concrete around it. So that's the first item. Second item is capping the snow melt system. We thought we had it taken care of early this spring, but it turns out with a little bit more excavation, a little bit setup, it was hit again, so we need to cap it again properly to make sure it doesn't leak in the future. That was the snow melt that used to lead to the sidewalk that ran out to the parking lot originally from the building. And the last one is the pretty unfortunate, but as we've been digging into the building, as the renovations have happened, we've discovered that the electrical wires throughout the building were essentially mortared into the concrete block. So our plan was originally to be able to pull that wire out and reroute it, but because it's inside the block and we're adding blocks above it, there's no way to actually connect safely those wires throughout. So this is essentially to rewire the restroom building. That's just something that, open it up, find something unique, never seen that before, and that's what that is for. So those are the 3 items. I believe right now we're pretty much in this shape. I don't think anything else is gonna jump up. This is kind of the last unknown renovations. I'm sure we've all renovated a house or a home or have friends or family. Things just kind of pop up when you start tearing stuff apart. So this should be hopefully the last change order for now.
Director Deason is out of town, and so I'm happy to answer any questions. I mean, these are items that we discussed, worked through. He felt comfortable paying from the existing contingency fund. And as Peter indicated, we're essentially pretty close to the finish line.
Yep.
When we took a tour, we looked at the electrical piece, and because we added, I think Peter said, 3 or 4 blocks on top, I mean, rather than start splicing wires together, it just made a lot more sense to do it the safe way and rewire the electrical.
Sticking a box inside a mortar block is not a smart idea for long term. Yep. So
I remember asking about the water fountain in regards to, I know we're replacing the existing one, but I think I mentioned at one point in time using a more popular one that you can refill your water bottles. Was that ever discussed, or did we ever get a price on that, or?
is there a second one? Oh, geez, you're kind of, if we're in a spot here, I can't remember if we have a second one on the park or not. I don't think we do. The one there is just being removed and replaced. It's in great shape. It's just, it doesn't have the water bottle filler,
Yep.
but that's,
Is it attached to the building itself?
it is right outside, about 2 feet.
So it's freestanding, okay.
Freestanding, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve Covered Bridge Park Change Order number 10, to add the water fountain relocation, the snow melt system capping, and restroom building electrical adjustment for a project increase of $5,635.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion by trustee Carter, supported by trustee Hurwitz, to approve this change order. Clerk DeMarco, will you please call the roll?
Trustee, excuse me, Trustee Carter,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz,
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Supervisor Korth.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, so now we're, consider the Covered Bridge Park pay application number 9 from Caterberg Verhaeg in the amount of $338,569.56.
Hi, Peter Shapansky again. It's pay application number 9. We have a lot of items in this one. I picked out 5 of the larger ones. We have the restroom building, which is being constructed. We're roughly about 80%. A lot of the structural aspects have been taken care of. On that, we have the canopy structure bringing up to 90%. Really, is just a little bit more roofing left to go and the final connections to the restroom building itself. But I believe they're actually siding today, so that's good. And then we have $85,000 for the paved drain pavers. Those are those rainwater infiltration blocks that we see throughout the entire downtown, and we've done the curve around the park there. And we have $29,796.75 for the 75% of the irrigation system. Just a little bit left, kind of out by the restroom building where we're still currently operating. And then $31,175, and that's kind of the lump sum of the, if you remember back, there's a change order to add the north side of the cover bridge, the deck, the steel rail, the steel beams underneath being repainted and sanded, then repainted, and then the railing. So all that work is complete now. So this is kind of up to there. As you can see, we are moving closer and closer to completion. It's kind of fun to see some grass seeding going on. You can kind of see the final form. Right now, we are still tracking for August 12th as planned. And everything, talked to contractor this morning, everything seems to be going relatively smooth. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
I'll make another motion here to approve the Covered Bridge Park pay application number 9 from Caterberg for Hague in the amount of $338,569.56.
Support.
Thank you. Motion to pay application number 9 was moved by trustee Carter, supported by treasurer Moran. This is another roll call vote. Dr. Mark, will you call the roll?
Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Supervisor Korth,
Aye.
Trustee Carter,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz.
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye.
All right, thank you. Okay, the next one is to consider the Grand River Drive Trail Improvements Project pay application number 2 from Tomic Construction in the amount of $490,234.40.
Thank you Supervisor Korth. Again, Ryan Aarons, Moore and Brugink, Township Engineer. Have before you this afternoon recommendation for payment number 2 for the Grand River Drive Trail Improvements Project. This is for work completed from about mid-May through June 26th. And essentially the path is nearly complete at this point. This pay application is in the amount of $490,234.40. And it does include a 5% retainage as we've hit 50% of the contract amount, which is $43,914.81 to Tomic Construction.
How, is the section on Ada Drive done yet?
It is not. They were scheduled to start today. They had some equipment issues. The mill broke down that crushes the pavement. So now they're scheduled to start Wednesday. They have done some preliminary concrete work and put the soil erosion control measures up. They did that late last week. But the brunt of the work was scheduled for this week. They're just going to be a little delayed with the equipment.
What's the start to finish on just that little stretch? Because it's
Essentially about a week.
a week, okay. Thank you.
So we do have our final inspection scheduled for the section on Grand River from Knapp down to Fulton for the middle of next week.
Okay.
So we're going to walk that with Tomic Construction, document any punch list items, that type of thing. So.
Great. It's a long
Move approval of Grand River Drive Trail Improvement Project, application 2 to Tomic Construction in the amount of $490,234.40.
Support.
motion to approve this pay application moved by trustee Hurwitz, supported by treasurer Moran. For all, I guess, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Carter,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz.
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Supervisor Korth.
Aye. Thank you. All right, here's the last one of this group. It's the, consider the Thornapple River Pedestrian Bridge Project pay application number 6 from the Grand River Construction, in the amount of $832,854.42.
Thank you Supervisor Korth. Again, Ryan Aarons, Moore and Brugink, Township Engineer. Have before you pay recommendation number 6 for the Thornapple River Pedestrian Bridge Project due to Grand River Construction. And this is for work essentially performed in the month of June. It's a big one as we set the prefabricated pedestrian bridges in that month. So this pay recommendation is for $832,854.42. And it still does include a 10% retainage on that as well.
Where are we on the opening of the bridge?
So they are finishing up concrete work on both sides this week, also finishing up the rough earthwork. Gonna do irrigation repairs, tree planting next week, and then as soon as the irrigation repairs are done, they're gonna spray restoration. There's a good chance it could potentially be open to foot traffic this Friday. After they get the concrete poured, essentially the concrete cures one day and foot traffic is allowed on it, so.
That's exciting. Anybody else?
I'll move approval to Riverworks Construction in the amount, this is pay app, what number is it? Six, in the amount of $832,854.42.
Second.
To Grand River Construction.
Grand River.
Okay, so we have the motion by trustee Pro, supported by trustee Carter. Pay application number 6 to Grand River Construction for $832,854.42. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Korth,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz.
Aye.
Trustee Carter.
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to move into our first public comment of the afternoon. Would any members of the public like to come up and talk about any topic they'd like? If they'd like to come up, please state your name and address for the record, please. All right, seeing no one come up at this time, I will close this first public comment session and move on. We have no items of unfinished business. We do not have a public hearing, so we'll move into our new business section, which is the first one is the request from Egypt Valley Country Club for public fireworks display permit on September 19th, 2026, with a rain date of October 3rd.
Yes, my name is Michael Falk. I'm with Pyrotechnical Fireworks, and I'm representing specifically Egypt Valley Country Club today. As the supervisor said, they would like to have a fireworks display for their fall festival on September 19. So you have in front of you an application for the fireworks, as well as a certificate of insurance and a site map. So no changes from previous years, same crew more or less, same location, same situation all around. I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
And this has been reviewed with Fire Chief Murray, and Township doesn't have any issues with the request as presented.
Move approval of the request as presented. For the fireworks display, Egypt Valley.
Second.
So we have the motion by trustee Prose, supported by trustee Carter, for the approval of the firework display permit for Egypt Valley Country Club on September 19th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to move on to the resolution R07-1326-1, a resolution to authorize the Songs and Sips application for special license. Hello.
Thank you, board members. Ethan Engel, Recreation Coordinator with your Parks and Rec Department. Just need your approval to move forward. It's our second annual Songs and Sips. Last year went off with great success. We had about 55 people in attendance, even though the weather was questionable as it tends to be in February. Roselle worked great. We had some great partnerships with the Historical Society and a couple other sponsors that came through. Worked with Gravel Bottom to supply the beer and wine. We don't have any artists planned at this time. Still working with Chris Collins as we're hoping to get through Music on the Lawn before we book the next set of artists. But we just need your guys' approval to be able to move forward, and this just keeps our events moving forward and ahead of schedule.
Okay. I think it's wonderful.
I move approval of resolution, to adopt resolution R-07-1326-1, authorizing the Songs and Sips application for special license.
Support.
Moved by trustee Hurwitz, supported by treasurer Moran, to approve resolution 07-1326-1 for the Songs and Sips application for a special liquor license. This is a roll call vote. Clerk DeMarco, will you call the roll, please?
Supervisor Korth,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz.
Aye.
Trustee Carter.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We're all set. Thanks. Okay, we're moving on to consider the recommendation from the Planning Commission to deny request to rezone 60 Ada Hills Drive Northeast from rural residential to single-family R1 residential. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Korth and members of the board. John Sedd, Director of Planning for the Township. This matter concerns a request for a rezoning for 60 Ada Hills Drive from rural residential to single-family residential. This matter was fully vetted at the June Planning Commission meeting. However, I do have a number of details, so I can go into those and share that information with you now if you would like, or if you wanted to just ask questions, whatever your pleasure may be.
John, what were some of the issues, or is there a top 5 issues that they all rejected, or top 1, or?
Certainly. Significantly, it's a great question. Significantly, the request to reject this was based on the fact that this is an isolated zoning request. This is a request that there is no other location anywhere around there that has this zoning district. This is a single parcel rezoning request, and it is simply to allow for an increase in density in an area that otherwise it would not comply with. The applicant had identified other areas not far from this one where lots were smaller than the minimum allowed. However, as I've noted in the staff report, those were developed undoubtedly under previous zoning ordinances and do not match what is there now. So the idea is always to move forward to progress to increase conformity with current standards, including lot sizes, instead of moving backwards to allow nonconformance or use of outdated standards. So that was a large issue, conformance with those zoning standards and our zoning ordinance. Significantly as well, we don't have any other location in the township that is zoned R1. This would be a one-lot zoning district, which we don't have anywhere in the community, and it would be a location where there is no other property within the township that is zoned R1. So the Planning Commission felt very strongly about that topic. They felt that merited significant consideration because of those conditions. We also had a member of the public that spoke at the meeting and also submitted a letter in opposition, and it was a neighboring property owner in that location. The factors, and I can certainly read this at verbatim if you want, but just the main factors were disruption of the rural residential characteristics of the area, conflict with the township's plan, degradation of the Fulton Street corridor, increase in density, diminished safety and functionality of the neighborhood. So that's what that individual submitted. Their information is also included in the minutes for that meeting. One thing I'd also like to make mention of as it relates to the master plan. While the applicant had said, this conforms with the master plan because the R1 district in this particular area is currently planned for neighborhood residential. The fact of the matter is that master plans, just like zoning ordinances and everything else, are living, breathing documents. And they are subject to update as time goes along. This particular area does not have any of the utilities that would be appropriate and necessary for neighborhood residential. There's no sewer, there's no water, or any of that kind of stuff north of Fulton Street. So that's a significant issue to be considered. Similarly, the master plan and the other topics that are talked about in the master plan talks about in areas that have more rural character, which this does, that language in the master plan says that the township should discourage rezonings which incrementally increase density in the area. So that's a master plan policy matter as well. As it relates to the isolated zoning, I have references from a planner's dictionary, which is from the American Planning Association, and several references of that planner's dictionary as it relates to spot zoning, which is the kind of the planner geek term used for isolated zoning, basically talk about the zoning of a small area which differs measurably from the zoned land surrounding the area. Similarly, rezoning of a lot or parcel designed to benefit an owner for a use incompatible with surrounding uses, and on, several more definitions that are similarly noted and referenced in that way. I apologize for the length of that answer to your
I
question.
think you hit 5.
Questions or comments? The request is for the denial of the request as recommended, consistent with the Planning Commission and staff recommendations, based on the findings of fact that the request would be inconsistent with the township law specified in the zoning ordinance.
So moved.
Support?
So moved by Treasurer Moran, supported by Trustee Pros to go with the Planning Department's recommendation of the denial of the request as recommended. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
All right, the next item is the consider the Thornapple River pedestrian, moved down to, let's see, Resolution R071326-2, the redevelopment liquor license application for Terra GR Incorporated.
Okay, good afternoon to the Township Board. Kevin Austin, your DDA Director. So I have the memo there for you guys that I'm going to roll through and hit some highlights on. And then we also do have the applicant here today that I will turn over to summarize and give a little bit more detail on the business operation that's proposed in connection to this redevelopment liquor license. So rolling through here, Ada Township has received an application from Kenneth Sung on behalf of Terra GR requesting local government approval for a redevelopment area liquor license for the proposed restaurant at 590 Ada Drive. That is for you guys that are unaware, that is the former Jam and Bean, recently former Jam and Bean. Originally, one of the original buildings here in the historical Ada called Rex Anthony's General Store. You can see some things about that in the Historical Society as well. The proposed establishment is located within Ada Township DDA. It's eligible within an eligible redevelopment area, which is the DDA. The application requires local government approval as part of the MLCC licensing process. So in accordance with the township's review process for this license, the Ada Township Downtown Development Authority first reviewed this application on June 15, 26, adopted Resolution DDA 06-1526 TAC 1, which is included in your packet, which is a resolution of support for this application from the DDA board. The DDA's action is advisory in nature and has been forwarded to you all as the Township Board, as the legislative body, which is authorized to adopt the formal resolution that is required by the MLCC from the local government entity. So the applicable law is there for you guys for redevelopment area liquor licenses. We do have several that are inside the DDA currently as well. This is a process that's come up probably every couple of years with different applications as the development has increased in the DDA district. So one of the critical components for your awareness and knowledge is the redevelopment area license eligibility and available license capacity section right there. The statute authorizes one redevelopment liquor license for every $1 million of qualifying investment occurring within the redevelopment area in the preceding 3 years for every 1,000 residents of local government unit. So to document eligibility under the statute, the Ada Township Assessor, Stephanie Boardman, has provided an affidavit certifying that a qualifying investment within the township redevelopment area totaled $24,293,014 during the preceding 3-year period. And there's an affidavit included with that. But that goes into the calculation by the MLCC. This is a calculation that they do, not necessarily that we complete for eligibility. So this does still go to MLCC to establish whether or not this actually exists according to their metrics. However, according to what's been calculated with their format under the statute, you can see 24.293 investment units divided by the population is 1.69, which the statute does claim the greater fraction thereof. So we have roughly two redevelopment liquor licenses afforded to the DDA district currently in the preceding 3 years that this has occurred. So we do have at least one for this applicant. And that was communicated to them, and so this was reviewed by the DDA. The proposed business operation is there for you guys, but we do have the applicant here, so I won't go too much into detail, but you guys might be familiar with the name. This restaurant does have a location in Easttown that has been operating successfully, and I do believe they had a satellite location in downtown as well, but Mr. Sung can document that and talk about his unique approach that he's looking to do here in downtown Ada and the historic side. So the requested licensing, you guys can see there, is a Class C on-premise license. The narrative that was provided by the applicant says that they do not intend to operate a traditional full-service bar. Rather, the alcohol beverages will be ancillary to the restaurant operation, consist primarily of beer, wine, and other packaged alcoholic beverages. They do have an SDM license, which is a specially designated merchant license as well. We do have several of those here in the township. There's the dining, which requires at least 25 patrons or 25 seats indicated, and there is a floor plan that you guys have there in the package as well. And then looking at the building rehabilitation investment, that is a critical part of this application process under MLCC. So Covered Bridge Properties LLC, which owns the property, has provided an estimated building improvement costs totaling approximately $131,000, including floor replacement, repair, HVAC, exterior improvements, rear service entrance, ADA compliant restrooms, utility updates, and sewer improvements. They have a breakdown of that included. The requirement is $75,000 for improvement in the building or in the premises that the license is tied to. So. The community redevelopment benefits, I just want to note that the DDA reviewed the proposal and determined that the project is consistent with continued redevelopment and economic vitality of the district, and then subsequently approved the resolution and forwarded it to you guys. So there is a recommended action there for you guys, but if there are no questions right now, I'll still be available afterwards. I'd love to get the applicant in front of you guys to give kind of a synopsis of his application for the license.
Just one question before you
Sir.
leave, Kevin. In regards to just in the application, there's this alcohol information management system where it talks about how many are allowed and how many are issued. I know you touched on the SDD and the SDM.
Mm-hmm.
Do all these numbers make sense to you? Did you get a chance to look at these? It just says 15 are allowed for this merchant and only 3 are issued.
So you're talking about the documentation?
Yeah,
provided
this
by-
local government unit quota search, so.
Mhm. Yes, so that's the publicly available information on Laura, I believe, or Laura's database, providing what the township currently has. SDM licenses are specially designated merchant licenses. Those are licenses that are often for like liquor stores and things like that,
Okay.
to provide the sale of alcohol that is not to be consumed on premises, but is to be taken somewhere else. The LARC actually applied for this license and was granted this license in conjunction to a Class C on-premises license. It was an application in '24, so they applied for a similar thing. We are just evaluating really the Class C licenses, what is tied to the redevelopment. So I'm not exactly sure on the numbers provided there by Laura. We did discuss this a little bit in DDA about quota licenses. The differences between those two things. Redevelopment liquor licenses can't leave the DDA. They can't leave the township. Quota licenses can. So people that are granted quota licenses, they can take those and go to different municipalities and things like that. But redevelopment liquor licenses are tied to the development district specifically. Does that answer your question, Treasurer Moran?
For the most part, yeah, I was just kind of curious what that merchant liquor store makes sense to me,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah. And to expound on that a little bit, you could ask Kenneth as well, but they do intend on being able to sell certain packaged alcohol under the SDM license for people to take, being that their function or their operation is a little bit more geared towards that format. So, okay, I'll turn it over to Mr. Sung for a brief presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ken Sung. I'm the owner of Terra GR. I don't know if you're familiar with Terra GR. We've been open in Easttown, as Kevin had indicated, since 2012. We're a farm-to-table scratch kitchen, so we support probably 20 different farmers in the West Michigan area, and everything we do is made on premises at our restaurant. We're a full-service restaurant, and in 2020 we added a new business called Terra Bagels, which is 2 doors located from our Easttown location. Then we opened up a second location in 2012 or 2022 in downtown GR, and with the same philosophy, doing bagels, but everything being scratch kitchen using local ingredients. The concept that we we're presented here with a location here in Ada is we want to provide the bagels during the day, and then in the evening, more of our Terra to go menu. So the reason for the Class C license would be to allow our guests to consume what we would focus on beer and wine on premises, and the SDM license as we emphasize the to-go nature of our menu, which is pizzas, pastas, and salads. People can have the opportunity to pick up or to purchase a beer and wine with their purchase, which is the concept that we are working with. So it's more of a cafe than a full-service restaurant. It's a little deceptive, people thinking we're going to have a full-service restaurant. So as a result, we are kind of going to be running the business as Terra Kitchen Ada, kind of a hybrid of the two businesses that we currently have. So to kind of clarify things so it isn't as confusing as like, are you Terra Bagels, are you Terra GR? This should hopefully create a new path for us as well. Our plan for operation would be from 7 a.m. till 3. We'll basically run our bagels menu, which would not include any alcohol. And then from 4 until 9, we will include more of the to-go menu that we offer at Terra, which would offer the ability to, again, enjoy the beer and wine on premises as well as to go. We're really excited about being around the corner here. If you stop by the building, you can see the renovations that the Vanderbeens have put into this building. It's they're the second generation owner of this building. As Kevin had indicated, we're getting finally an HVAC system in the building, ADA bathroom, a brand new floor. Everything is going to be updated in this. The outside of the building will remain the same with some painting and so forth, but the inside of the building will be totally up to 21st century standards. So we're really excited about being part of this community and being a local business. We feel like it's a good fit for everybody. Any questions that I can answer for anybody?
I have a question. Given the concept being a kind of a pickup location in the afternoons and evening hours, how are you going to market where people are supposed to park? It's not as if it's a modern drive-through or something. And are you using delivery services?
We will offer both DoorDash and Uber Eats for operations throughout the day. So, and then we've actually had pretty good success especially at our downtown Grand Rapids location. We don't have anything specifically listed out as parking, but one of the things that we will be doing is we will have within our websites the ability for our guests to actually place orders prior to pickup. So basically it'd be if somebody wanted, like currently right now, a lot of people will place orders the evening before for bagels and pick them up at 9 a.m. and it's basically ready for them at 9 a.m. So it's a fairly quick process, even though we're not a drive-through operation at all.
It's just that I totally support the concept, and I actually think we have room from the mechanics of the parking and the like, but the logical area is right outside this wall in terms of where people would come in and access kind of from the rear if they're just kind of trying to pick up their order and leave, or even the Uber Eats guys or whatever are trying to pick up their orders. Has there been any conversations, like who controls that parking lot? So has there been any conversations between the township and us related to, being able to dedicate 5-minute parking only during certain hours in the afternoons and evenings and that kind of thing?
Kevin, yeah.
I would say currently, Supervisor Corthe, most of the conversations we've had around that lot actually pertain to some of the joint use of the trash facilities and things like that, being that the new businesses coming into that corner are trying to cohabitate really well in that environment. And so we were talking about that specifically, but nothing related specifically to timed parking for what assets are currently there. Those assets were shared between the residential units that are still above those properties, and then also the commercial units inside of that building. So we have not talked about specific timed parking or things like that. I know that there's been conversations about the parallel spots on Ada Drive. That is something that happens in the natural evolution of certain dynamic downtown environments, is that valuable parallel parking does end up getting times on it. That's not something that was necessarily recommended yet as from our parking plan, but as there becomes more dynamic use in the commercial nature of our downtown, I would say that that recommendation will probably come up, maybe in the near future for something like that, to make sure that there is that kind of turnover in those spaces. But we do know that right now people do highly value that those parking spots are not either limited timeline or something like that, but yes.
Just because, like, over here where Mike Ward's building that has the Blimpies and the Hungry Howies, I mean, they're militant about their parking staying open and available for pickups by people. And, I mean, I don't oppose the broader concept. I just think that if you're as successful as you hope to be, I just hope we don't have a weird kind of train wreck going on out here during the evenings as well, so.
It's often weird and very full all day long. I mean, people are even parking inappropriately.
Well, that's my point. I'd like to see it fleshed out a little bit more.
It is actually a good idea. I mean, I don't know if that location, what you speak of between the two buildings, is the perfect spot for it, just because of deliveries and whatnot. There's just a lot of traffic there, but, maybe in front of Love's, I think there's a handicap. And then you could have a 5-minute quick in and out. It certainly makes sense to me. I understand what you're saying, Supervisor Korth. So, something to consider.
We would love it, so.
Yeah, I bet you would.
I mean, definitely something we can look at as, we continue to look at the parking plan, the implementation of the parking plan, and then, even what the future use of this building looks like once the township moves. I mean, we're a heavy day user, and then obviously it's open at night. And then we've got other restaurants too, so we want to make sure whatever we do, we're cognizant of not only how does it impact this business, but other businesses. Because if we put one here, then all of a sudden everyone's going to want one. And so again, I think it is a good idea. I think there's value in it, and definitely something that obviously Kevin can take a look at and we can look at as we move forward.
Okay. Any other questions I can answer? Okay, thank you.
Move approval of resolution R071326-2 for the redevelopment liquor license application for Terra GR Inc.
Support. Moved by trustee Prose, supported by trustee Hurwitz, to approve resolution 071326-2 for the redevelopment liquor license application for Terra GR Incorporated. This is a roll call vote. Clerk DeMarco, you call the roll, please.
Supervisor Korth,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz,
Aye.
Trustee Carter.
Aye.
So we're all set on that. All right, we're going to move on to 11E, which is consider the letter of engagement with Municipal Financial Consultants, MFCI, for 2026 municipal building financing related to our proposed township hall.
Thank you, Supervisor Korth. So as Treasurer Moran and I have been working through, next steps, as we've had Dixon Architecture take a look at the schematics. We wanted to make sure we had a schedule that made sense, working with a vendor. Previously, we've used PFM. We met with PFM, MFCI, and I know Treasurer Moran met with Huntington Bank. And we felt comfortable moving forward to MFCI. I mean, all the firms are qualified. All the firms can do the work. But we think we have a good opportunity, a good relationship with MFCI to move forward for a successful process. We did include a draft schedule, because I know that's the one question is, what does this really mean? Where are we at in terms of if we're moving forward, this is the first step. So on the schedule, now that we have the letter of engagement, the first step would be at the August 3rd, we're going to include for the August 10th board meeting a notice of intent. And that would be the notice of intent of what the Township Board's intent is for bonding or financing the new Township Hall building. You'll notice later in the agenda I've got a special work session so that we can have the board meet and review the outcome of the schematic design review with Dixon Architecture. But essentially this would run us through publishing the notice of sale on October 29th, bond closing and delivery on November 24th. And Treasurer Moran, I don't know if there's anything you'd like to add?
No, I think between PFM and MFCI. They're both well-respected firms, and again, having Paul Stoddard, who has been our financial consultant in the past, retire, it afforded us the opportunity to look around, and through Julius's network as well as mine, we landed with Warren Kramer and MFCI. So both outstanding firms.
Just some clarification, because I've never been involved in bond financing before. Where it says on November 24th, the bond closing and delivery, is that essentially where the bond is approved, accepted, and they actually distribute funds, and then we lock the funds away, and we control the distribution? There's not then oversight?
Correct. That's the days the funds hit our bank.
Okay. And it's also the day interest starts accruing?
It does.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We'll talk about that in a couple months.
Something about paying it.
All right, so that date could be fungible, but Kevin, the point I'm making is if that date could be fungible in the sense that if we find that our timeline shifts to the spring or something, we would clearly want to slow this down so that we're not paying interest on money just, unless we could invest it. Can we invest the money?
We can.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought you were referring to. I'm sorry. Yeah, we get charged interest, but we also start earning interest on that money.
Oh, okay.
So yes.
All right, so potentially, depending on how that would play out, the net cost of just having the money at our disposal may be flat or close to flat.
We hope so.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay.
Never a good idea to borrow money to invest.
Government doesn't like that.
No.
Okay, so you're, so
I move approval of the letter of engagement with MFCI for municipal building financing of the Township Hall project.
Second.
thank you. We have the motion by trustee Prose, supported by Carter, to move forward with the engagement with MFCI for the bonding for the new Township Hall project. All in favor signify, this is a roll call vote or no?
No roll call.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion, aye, and then anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. All right, thank you. All right. Next one is to consider the proposal from F&V Operations and Resource Management for a water reliability and asset management plan for an amount not to exceed $31,800.
Thank you, Supervisor Korth. So a little bit of background, the township needs to update its water reliability and asset management plan. It was an item that was identified in previous communication with Eagle. We received two proposals, one from Warren Brudrink, who's completed this work in the past and serves as our township engineer, and then one from F&V Operations and Resource Management, which is contracted as our utility operator. Both are capable of completing the work. F&V proposes completing the work for a lump sum fee of $31,800. Warren Brudrink proposes completing the work for a not to exceed amount of $50,000. Staff's recommendation is to move forward to F&V Operations for an amount of $31,800. Staff is also completely okay if the board determined that we wanted to move forward with Warren Brudrink. This is a little bit unique, just because F&V has, as they've transitioned their utility capacity and capability, they're another resource for us to be able to utilize for something like this. And happy to answer any questions that the board may have. And then Stephanie Kozel with F&V is here if you have any questions for Stephanie.
As I read this is really ironic because they both are more than capable of doing it. As you said, in the past, we've always used Warren Brudrink, but, you know, it's the money thing. And it's too bad they can't team up and, I mean, work together with both, but they're both very functional. And I think it'd be foolish of us to spend more than we have to.
Need a motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's make a motion then to, yeah, to, now I've lost it here, but, oh, here it is. To accept the proposal from F&V Operations and Resource Management for a water reliability and asset management plan for an amount not to exceed $31,800.
Support.
Thank you. Moved by trustee Carter, supported by treasurer Moran, to utilize the services of F&D operations for our water management and reliability asset management plan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. All right, the next item is a solicitation permit revocation appeal by EcoShield. Is there someone from EcoShield that'd like to come up and present that request?
Hello, members of the board. I'm Tanner Shuck. I'm one of the partners of EcoShield. I'm here to speak on behalf of EcoShield, mostly in reference to Skip, Kenneth Navarro. He's no longer employed by our company. He will never be applied for again in a permit in Ada Township. I hear that was multiple complaints from him. So we've addressed that issue. Another complaint that I heard was somebody riding a scooter across lawns. None of our guys ride scooters, so I'm not sure who that was or if he was in relation to. So no scooters have been ridden. And then I'm fully in support of following the rules and the guidelines and everything like that. And I think that when guys break it, there should be a process. So I fully understand all of this. In terms of the other two solicitors that we have no complaints on, I just request that we can maybe apply for veteran solicitors that have been with us for multiple years that will obviously look at the rules and regulations very strictly and avoid those areas. But I am open to any and all support, as well as like recommendations for what we can do better.
Thank you. Would you like to go ahead and give us?
Yes, I would. Nice to meet you in person. I'm
Nice to
Joe
meet you.
DeMarco, the clerk. We've spoken many, many times on the phone. Long story short, this is one of the simplest and most easily understood programs that I've ever encountered. And I've spent an abundance of time with your employees going over very remedial requirements, processes, rules, all that.
Mm-hmm.
I have it in writing from Aubriana Moises, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly.
Yep. Yeah, she's newer to our
That she
organization.
is fully aware of our zero tolerance compliance. I will say that you are mistaken when you say none of your employees use scooters, because I'll say they all do. And we have a multitude of even photos, and one of them is included in this packet that I gave you. And it wasn't just one solicitor. It was also after the notice of revocation that was submitted to Aubriana on June 16th. There were multiple complaints after that date, one of which is a photo of one of your solicitors with your EcoShield clothing on a scooter.
Can you define scooter for me? Because some guys ride one wheels.
Okay, a scooter, there's all different kinds,
Okay.
yes, I will agree, but
Yeah, I think that's where the miscommunication came from. Because the communication that came down for me was a scooter, like handlebars riding a scooter. And that's why I said that none of our guys ride scooters. If it was a one wheel or like a single
when
wheel
you're
device.
standing on an apparatus
Okay.
and it's moving, I don't know, yeah, here it is
Okay.
right here, and you received
A
this.
one wheel, yes.
So, I mean, again, call it what you want,
Okay.
but when you're standing on an apparatus and it's moving and you're going across people's lawns, there you go.
Mhm.
But again, just to wrap up a real long story, I mean, I go into the most finite detail that you want,
Yeah.
but just to wrap it all up quickly, you guys have broken every single rule, not once, not twice, but a multitude of times. And the documented complaints that I've received don't even measure up or fully fulfill the calls of people who are actually scared. And they're, crying on my shoulder, telling me stories about how they were, so aggressively approached. And I told this guy I didn't want his services, and he just wouldn't leave. But I don't have documentation on those, so I couldn't include them.
Okay.
But I promise you, as sure as I'm sitting here, they are there.
Mhm.
And again, I mean, this is not just one solicitor. This was several that you guys seem to have overlooked, even after you got the notice saying, cease and desist. You didn't pull your people in.
Yeah.
I've gone way overboard, and even from the words of our attorneys, saying, I've never seen a situation so clean, concise, and tightly buttoned up.
Yeah.
And the amount of time that I've spent with your employees that, from the looks of things, you haven't. So, I don't know what else to say, but, I think I've gone way overboard to keep it all compliant and in line. And I've even fielded complaints to Aubriana, and it seems that nothing's been done about them. So I can't manage your staff. I
I get
manage
that.
my own.
Yeah, and I think the really difficult part here is Aubriana oversees we have over 2,000 sales reps nationwide, and her communication down to me takes a minute. And that's why I think a day after the permits were revoked, that's whenever she sent me the email, and that's whenever I immediately pulled the reps from the area. So I think, like, going forward, my request would be this, like, communication goes straight to me. I'm in market, I oversee all of these guys, but whenever we have a chain of command that takes like 7 people, things are delayed. It's hard, I mean, you've played the game telephone before. Like,
Oh, yeah.
everything gets
Oh, yeah.
misconstrued as it goes down the
Absolutely.
line.
I get it. What you're
So-
saying is we're all busy.
Yep,
I can
So-
speak to that.
yeah, and
I'm very
I
busy
would,
myself,
I would
but
be very happy.
I'm busy managing my staff
Yeah.
and my responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to manage yours.
100%. So I would just ask that communication go directly through me. I know that you had my email wrong one time, so I didn't get a bunch of these emails. And that's whenever Aubriana,
Excuse me?
my email was typed wrong, and so Aubriana re-tied me into the email thread in one of the emails that's in the packet, and so I missed like half of these communications. So by
That
the
would have been, well, I'm not gonna go there, but in the beginning,
yeah,
it's a little difficult to get the handwriting that is submitted to me.
okay. Yeah, but I think that was a breakdown in like the chain of command
That
or
was,
just
that was way in the
communication
beginning,
as
though.
well.
That was way in the beginning. We fixed that.
Okay.
You talk about chain of command issue emails. Listen, we have very clear no solicitation signs in neighborhoods, including mine.
Yeah.
And they are there all the time. And
Okay.
they're told there's no solicitation and it doesn't matter. And so when you have clear entrance at gated communities with clear things that say no solicitation, it just happens again and again. And it's not just one neighborhood, it's lots of neighborhoods. And patience for it is over.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's just, I don't care about communication that, but if it says clearly, no solicitation is no solicitation, end of discussion, I'm done.
I agree.
Thank
And-
you. And in addition to that, may I say, we have a do not knock list that I personally hand to your solicitors. What more could we possibly do?
Yeah.
And they
With the
want.
do not knock list you're saying?
I'm
And your
sorry?
guys' do not knock list is super fair. I mean, like Park
Thank you.
Township has
Thank you.
hundreds and hundreds, so it's very difficult. So I would agree. My one thing that I would like to say though is, like, in terms, you said that we're there all the time. We weren't even in the township last year. It's been 2 years since we've been here. So us being here all the
And
time
the
doesn't
reason why
really,
you
I
weren't
mean,
here
in the
last
neighborhood.
year was because there were
Okay.
some extremely egregious behavior on the part of your staff
2 years ago.
that didn't end well for them.
Yeah, and that was before I took over this office. I took over this office last year, and we were dealing with things from 2 years ago as well. So I can't speak on behalf of the managers that ran the office 3 years ago, but I started taking over last year. We weren't here last year. This year we were here for, what was it, a week and a half, 2 weeks?
No, you were here for just shy of 30 days.
Okay,
And then even when the revocation letter went out, you extended that.
okay. But yeah, I don't know what the comment was all the time that we're there, because, and maybe solicitors in general, but we've been there, I mean, for a total of max 30 days over the last 2 years. So, and hey, I want to respect everybody's privacy just like you guys do. I think that private streets with no soliciting signs at the front should be avoided 100%. And that's why I'm asking, like, instead of sending Eric Claude, he's not being mean, but a low IQ individual. Same thing with Skipper. Sending only our veterans that have done this for years and years, that have a ton of experience. We haven't had a permit revoked in any other municipality on this side of the state except for here. So we've adhered to guidelines really, really well, but I think we've not done such a good job here, and I just want to make it better. I want to work with you guys.
I'm a businessman as well in the past. I appreciate the fact that you have 2,000 salesmen and they're giving kids a chance to go out and make some money. However, I too agree with Clerk DeMarco. We've done a lot. We ended up creating a whole policy on how we want to handle solicitors In the past, we never really affected it.
Mm-hmm.
And it really didn't matter. And we were getting complaints. And then with the stuff that happened a couple years ago, we went and Clerk DeMarco did a really marvelous job of putting together a plan that we all had to agree to. And it's out there. Other communities say, you know, we really have never had it. We'd like it. I'm kind of stuck saying, you know, I tend to agree. The third strike would certainly be a permanent. For this year is certainly no way an H. Next year, basically up to her perhaps, if there were people coming in like yourself, presenting the people, going through in detail in front, but knowing it's a conditional that if there's errors and omissions and they are in these areas or they are knocking where they shouldn't, then that would mean immediate, because this is a repeat thing. And I truly believe that that would be a fair approach to this from your standpoint, from our standpoint, that this year's 100% out. But we're not here, we're in America where we have the freedom to go and do things. But there's rules that have to be followed. Just like building a house, you can't start till you have the permits. This is the same thing. So I would hope you understand our position. And my only ask of perhaps the board would be no for this year. Maybe we'll try again next year.
Yeah.
I know it's really kind of that she doesn't want you back because she's wasted a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
But I also know that with proper supervision and that we've had one strike, this is two. Do we go 3 strikes, you're out of the ball game permanently? That's my kind of recommendation.
Yeah, and I fully respect and understand that too. My one question is, the majority of the concerns came up with Skipper or Kenneth Navarro.
It doesn't matter who your employee is.
Okay.
If it's one, he's a representative of you.
Right.
If you've got a bad apple in the bunch, as a management, your job, the weakest link in your chain can screw up everything.
Right.
So we're not out to point one individual. That's your job.
Yeah, I just mean he's been terminated.
It doesn't
So
matter.
He's been terminated.
It doesn't matter. You broke the link. The link was that individual. So for this year, there's no way I would go with Joe on this completely and say, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Next year, I would say perhaps, but one time, and it would be revoked.
Yeah.
Joe, is that something that's reasonable?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. When you say it was only one person, it was not. Excuse me, it was not.
Okay.
Read what I have submitted to you.
Okay.
And please understand, there have been so many more calls and people coming in complaining, and I've asked them to document them. And for whatever, maybe they don't want to, they don't have time. No, I came here, that's why I came here. I came here to tell you this. I cannot tell you how many of those verbal complaints that we've received. It is not just one person.
Okay.
And it's the same thing over and over again. No solicitation zones, I'm on the do not knock list, they came anyway, one snuck up behind me. Read the material that I've submitted to you.
I did read that one, where they were outside.
This is so much. I took an oath to protect the residents of Ada, and this falls right in line with that. And I live here too, and I don't want to be bothered either. And I want you to know solicitors knocked on my door, and it didn't end well for them.
Okay.
Because they were not even permitted. Not your company, I'm just saying.
Okay.
This is a business model that has gone wonky. It's up to you to correct that. But please understand that townships have a requirement to protect their citizens. And I'll also throw in that many other townships around here have adopted the same policies and procedures that we put in place here. And I'm very proud of that. So I will ask you to rethink and sit down and talk to your employees, and maybe you need to redesign your policies and procedures.
We did
And
this
enforcement.
Yeah, we did this year, and there's a huge change that's happened. I mean, just my LLC here in Grand Rapids has spent over $200,000 in permitting throughout the Detroit markets. So we're trying to make leaps and bounds. We're trying to move forward. We're trying to be as compliant as possible. That's our 100% goal.
Well, maybe this is a learning experience for you to take it one step further.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if there's a motion.
We would need, yeah, I mean, so ultimately, there would be a motion to deny the appeal if there's a desire, or a motion to grant the appeal if there was a desire to go that way.
I'm perfectly fine with next year, guys. I'm not asking for forgiveness and letting us to get back into the township like this year. I'm just here to let you guys know, like, I am hearing you guys. I do agree. I think that we need to follow rules better. And I've terminated guys this year just off of that. So we're headed in the right direction. Next year is fine with me. I don't even need you guys to hear me out this year. I just want you guys to know that I am hearing what you're saying. I do agree it shouldn't come down to your time. You shouldn't have to police other people. You shouldn't have to police other companies, and we should be better. I just ask that next year we can apply.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, then I will deny the appeal for any service yet this year, any more, what's it called?
Well, all you're doing is appealing, denying the appeal. That's all you have
Denying
to
the
say.
appeal,
Yep.
but I think there was in the appeal here, it was for permanent. We don't want to be permanent, right?
No, I mean, I would think it's for the current year, and then obviously, any future permit requests would be under the discretion of the clerk.
Thank you.
So that's my motion. I'll second that.
all right, so moved by trustee Poe, supported by trustee Carter to deny the request for appeal for the current year, but allow a reapplication in 2027 with approval at the discretion of the clerk. Is that stated correctly?
Yes.
All right, so all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you, everyone. That was good. All right, so moving on to schedule the special work session to review revised size of the proposed township hall following work by Dixon Architecture. So I think, Julius, you're gonna give us a bit of an update.
Yep.
Planning here, right?
Yes, Supervisor Corr, sorry, I was trying to get to the slide. Yeah, so obviously we've now engaged with MFCI. We're starting down the path of potentially bonding. Ken Dixon from Dixon Architecture met with department heads and met with staff. And right now we're sitting, he's taken the 24,000 square foot building to about 18,255 square feet with an extra 2,000 square feet that is still white space. So really in alignment with the original 16,000 square foot space needs study that we completed 3 years ago. But obviously before we bring documentation to the board to notice of intent to bond or what that amount looks like, we want to make sure we present this to the board, have the revised plans even reviewed by department heads and staff. And so I'd like the authorization to schedule a special work session based on board availability to review that draft schematic design so that we can keep this moving forward at the August meeting.
So moved. Second.
All right, great, thank you. So we have a motion to set a special meeting, leaving Julius to help us figure out those dates. I've lost who moved on it.
I second.
Trustee Prose moved on it, supported by trustee Carter. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Okay, so we're now on to department reports. The first one we'll start with is Township Manager Report. So, Julius, would you like to go through?
Yep, just a couple items. One, I wanted to bring up the Kent County Road Commission public hearing that is scheduled for tomorrow, 7/14 at 6 p.m. here in the Assembly Hall. The township, I've communicated with Jerry Byrne from the township, or from the Road Commission. Originally, the Road Commission had a policy that outlined natural beauty roads. At their June meeting, I believe, following our continued persistence that they could do what we wanted them to do without removal of the natural beauty road designation, they updated their policy to require removal of a natural beauty road designation if this type of work is completed. And so it's a little bit of a conundrum because the township has spoken previously about being opposed to the NBR designation being removed. I don't necessarily want to submit a letter indicating that the township is opposed to the NBR designation being removed, because essentially if the township is against that, then there's no point in the engineering moving forward and there's no point in the conversation continuing. The other option is not doing anything. I mean, the road commission knows our position. We can let the public hearing happen. They'll make a decision at their following meeting. Or I could provide a letter indicating we support moving forward with this process, getting the engineering, and if the only way to complete any improvements to the road is removal of the MBR, then obviously that's within the discretion of the road commission, not up to us. I'm going to be traveling up to a conference tomorrow evening, and because it is just a public hearing, listening to comments, was not planning on attending. I don't know if board members plan on attending, but I wanted to get a sense from the board if there was a strong desire for us to issue a written statement to the road commission or not.
Julius, I just want the residents to be satisfied with the condition of the road, whether that applies to having the designation there or not. It's how do we get the road to be the way it should be and make the residents happy?
Let's be honest, we want them to do it right and per the residents. And if the only way that that's going to be achieved is the removal of the natural beauty road, then I'd say we have to go for that at this point, at least say that we would be in favor of it, but there's still, the goal is that they wouldn't come in and clear cut an extra 10 foot on each side, that they would do the minimal necessary to preserve as much as possible.
And ultimately, anything that is, I mean, once the engineering is complete, we would be presented with what that plan would be. And if the township's not supported at that time, then the township just doesn't have to fund it. And then, we've spoken, or the board has spoken. And so there is still avenues.
Sure,
pull
and
this
we need that if they find out that the engineering, when they look at the engineering plans, that we don't like it, the residents don't like it, that we can stop it. So I would say certainly, in my opinion, that we would.
Speak of the devil, it's the road commission.
Jerry,
Before
hold on.
we would get all that engineering work, though, would the natural beauty road designation already have been removed?
So they need to make a decision within 30 days, or at the next regular meeting. So their next regular meeting is in the beginning of August. I don't believe the engineering will be complete by then, so they would have to make a decision. Now, the road commission could make the decision to not remove the natural beauty road designation at this time, pending whatever comes out of the engineering.
And ultimately, that's what it'll be, because
Is that a recommendation we could make?
Well, that's what I
So
think.
we could ask that, and we could say, we appreciate the original petition for the NBR designation to be removed, but we would request that the road commission deny it as it currently sits to just remove it, instead waiting until the engineering is complete for the conversation to continue.
I think that might be the best approach. I think, in talking to different neighbors there, and there's a lot of people that want to see it paved, but then when you say, well, the arborvitae you have there, they're gonna be gone. That tree that you have there, that's gonna be gone. And it's like, wait a minute, what are you saying? And, they're gonna put, he mentioned that they're gonna have to probably put ditches in, okay? And the residents that are there, I don't think understand that, a lot of them. And so that's why I think it would be better to do that and get the engineering report so people can see this is what's gonna happen if we go forward with this, and make sure they totally agree. Otherwise, I see that if we go through and do this, I think you're gonna end up with some people going, I never understood what was gonna happen. And I feel I got this ramrodded down my throat.
I totally think you're correct in that, and that's why I'm saying, let them take it off with the condition that, get the engineering done, we'll have the public look at it, we'll describe it, maybe let the engineering, somebody walk the engineering and see how it affects, quote, them, and then if they still want it, now we know that we can proceed, and if they don't want it, well, then, we know what, how to.
But I'm confused a little bit on what you said. We've been talking about trying to have the designation left alone while engineering is done and allowing us.
Yeah. You kind of misspoke. He did.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what he means.
Yeah, okay, all right, fine.
Yeah, so I
But they're
would,
not gonna do that, though.
so what I would request, I mean, what I'm basing, on the board's feedback right now is that I would communicate a letter to the road commission to be part of the public record for tomorrow, is that the township would request that any removal of the MBR designation be denied or not, not removed at this time until engineering is complete and a plan can be presented to residents to fully understand the scope and impact of any potential project.
There you go.
But they just initiated a policy saying that, the MBR has to be
Correct,
removed.
and it could be once the engineering is done. I think the concern from some of the board members is if they move forward in August with, we remove the NBR, and the engineering's not done for a couple months, and then the engineering or the proposed improvements are more significant than people think, then the NBR has already been removed. And then maybe the township board says, we're not moving forward with these improvements, or the residents push back, and then the NBR is already removed.
And we would only have say at that point in time if they wanted 50% of our money.
Which they will.
They will.
Yeah, for
If
improvements.
you're certain for that.
Yes, they are, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well-
And that's what Jerry's communicated to me when I pushed back, is he said, at the end of the day, you guys are gonna have the final say, because if you don't fund the 50%, we're not gonna move forward.
Then why move the goalpost? That's what I think bothers me a little bit, is that, we agreed to pay for half the engineering even before having to remove this designation. Now they've basically created a policy, so their credibility to me is somewhat suspect in regards to what's going on here, frankly.
I think they probably, quite frankly, to put it bluntly, were getting irritated that I kept bringing up that they could do what we wanted them to do without removal of NBR. And even though our attorneys and legal counsel felt that was appropriate, they indicated that theirs did not. And I said, but if you read the state law, and so the way to handle this was they updated their policy, so it became, in their eyes, less of a gray area. But I agree, it felt disingenuous, because we weren't notified that suddenly the NBR policy was up for review or discussion at the board meeting for the road commission. And there was only one piece that was changed, and it was related specifically to the NBR and improvements being made on the road.
It's just my concern that, forget the 50% of the township money, we're gonna do what we want. We've done engineering, the MBR is removed, and you guys have your paved road. So,
And that's my concern.
yeah,
I think you're right, Kevin, but I do think that if we come forward with this recommendation from the start.
well, it's just a recommendation. I mean, it's not gonna do anything. I mean,
Well, it does one thing. It
it's
puts
on
us-
record.
Yeah, and it puts us in better light with the residents that we're
They just want the road fixed, and I don't think that they were aware of what the options were. I think going back to the beginning, they thought that the only option for them was to pave the road. But Julius has done a phenomenal job of putting a lot of information out to the residents and everything, and there's been discussion and meetings, and all that. So now they know that there's other ways to go about it. So as long as they know that our main objective is to have the road fixed properly, but then there's this other issue, that's up to the engineering and them.
I think write the letter. That'd be
Okay.
a recommendation.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've spoken to residents who want to see the road paved. I've spoken to people who want to see improvements to the gravel road. And I've had people reach out and said, don't touch the road. I moved here because I want people's cars to rattle when they go 35. And they don't speak for everyone. And so it's a big cross section. So, it'll be interesting to see what the feedback is tomorrow. And we've communicated to the residents what the public hearing tomorrow is, what we've done already with the road commission in terms of approving engineering, and so we can continue to communicate with them as well. Next item, I want to thank John Said. So as you might have noted in his planning director report, John has indicated his retirement for a date no later than December 31, 2026. So he's given us a long runway, and I appreciate that. But I just want to thank John. He's been a tremendous asset to the team. He's shepherded master plan update, zoning ordinance update, has been just a wonderful team player and really appreciated working with him. So I just want to say thank you, John. Want to take a second to introduce a new intern, Adam Buckwalter. Adam, if you want to give a wave. So Adam is here. He is currently a BYU student in psychology, but potentially interested in pursuing a career in municipal government. His dad is heavily involved at Grand Valley with the MPA program and has been instrumental in us having a really good relationship with Grand Valley and having good interns. So he is currently working on some donation policy pieces, music on the lawn, some sponsorship pieces. As we continue to evolve as a community, we get new requests that fall sometimes outside the parameters of what we're used to. So we've got to make sure we clean some of this up with policies for our staff. And then finally, just wanted to note that the township has received the NRA inspection of the Kent County Conservation League Gun Club. I did share that via email with the board. Staff has not had an opportunity to review yet with legal counsel. We are planning on doing that in the next few days. One of the pieces that is unique is that the NRA has indicated that this is a copyrighted report, and so it is not subject to public release, which we disagree with. So we are working with our legal counsel to ensure that any release of this is appropriate and does not put the township in hot water. I've communicated it to the residents who are interested in the release of this report because we want to be transparent with them. That was always the plan. We were not expecting this hiccup, but we want to make sure that we do our due diligence in understanding the full legal ramifications. We've also received a media request for a copy of the report, and so we need to make sure we handle that accordingly. So just want to make that aware, make everyone aware, and you do have a copy of it, so we will be reviewing and then discussing. Hopefully, we'll have some updates at the August meeting for what action or what can be done, what needs to be done. I know the gun club also has conversations they'd like to have with the township about changes to operations and different things, and so we'll need to vet all of that and go through that as we move forward. So just want to communicate that. And that's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions if the board has them.
Anybody got questions for Julius on his report?
Just one other item, sorry. So a couple of years ago, we made a small decision that probably seemed really insignificant, but it has gone a long way, and this is the temporary speed data signs. I know when we took it to the Buildings, Grounds, Utility Committee, I know there was concern about us tracking more data and how were we going to use it, where were we going to place it. But I will say, when a resident reaches out and expresses a concern, the first thing they say is, everyone's going 60 miles an hour. Everyone's going this, and so we say, hey, we're going to put a speed reader out. We're going to monitor it, and then we're going to get a report, and then we're going to provide you a copy. And so I provided kind of a sample that we had on, I believe that was on Scarborough. And so only one vehicle traveled between 41 and 45 miles an hour. 93.52% were traveling under 25 and slower. And so it does feel good when we do see this kind of information because we're dealing with data and not the anecdotal. And so this is helpful, and we share this with residents, and I can communicate with the resident and tell them that we work with the road or work with the sheriff's department and all this. But when I send them a copy of this report, the tone changes a little bit in terms of, wow, I didn't realize that. I didn't.
Is it because of the sign?
So, we've talked about that. That's one of the pieces is, well, people slow down because they see the sign. And I would say, well, then it's working. But also, we do move them around, so when the sign is not down. So we have had conversations about, could we get speed data collection that is not visible? And so we're having some of those conversations. It's not an immediate priority, but it could be something we look at in conjunction with the road commission. They have the ability to do so. But we even change whether it's west facing, east facing. We work with residents. And so when residents reach out, it's one of the first things we offer, and a lot of them have been very, very satisfied. So hopefully it's all of those things. As we're seeing pedestrian, even vehicle behavior change in the downtown with our slender bender signs. Sometimes it is just continuing to put it in front of them and reminding them that they need to slow down is really important. So just wanted to highlight that. I know the board deals with millions of dollars of expenditures. I think the speed data signs were $6,000 that we purchased years ago, and they have been instrumental in our ability to communicate and work with the public.
Yeah, one thing off subject that really I thought was cool and worth mentioning. I love the videos that you sent around of the bridge installation, and that really has gone well.
Thank you for everything.
Okay, so we've got several other reports from department heads. Does anybody want to talk about anything specifically there, or also do any department heads want to come up and speak specifically to their report?
All right, good afternoon to the Township Board. Kevin Austin, DDA Director. I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the entire staff's effort on the 250th 4th of July. I looked at some data. We had about 11,000 people in downtown Ada from 8 a.m. till about midnight, so a full day's worth of events. For reference, when ABA puts on some of their biggest events, i.e. Pumpkin Prowl and Tinsel Treats and Trolleys, you know, we get probably 8,000, 9,000 people, but they have probably a staff of 20 to 30 volunteers or so, or more. And I think we had 16 staff members, including the fantastic Parks Department with their seasonal staff, the BFG, also, you know, my intern, Sophie, Treasurer Moran, Julia Succi was out there as well. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware that, to make sure that those guys get their attention. It was a fantastic event, 47 different floats that participated in the parade. Harkup was involved. They said it was one of their favorite parades that they've been a part of, to be inside of and witness. So lots of people came through, no safety issues, no logistical failures. The couple of children were linked up with their parents when they were lost by Ethan Engel. They had a good system for that with the bike parade. There are a lot of great pictures that we got, if you guys haven't seen them. Really great effort, but about 16 staff members made that happen for about 11,000 people throughout the course of the day. I know we got on a lot of people's radar for the parade and for a lot of different things, so kudos to the entire staff, and also for the Township Board for investing in the 250th this year to make it as successful as it was. So.
It was. Being around Ada for a long time, that was by far the best parade and day. So definitely a good job.
I've had several people comment to me the exact same sentiments, that it executed flawlessly. You guys worked your tails off, and that it was without question the best event that we've had perhaps ever in town. So thank you to everyone who was part of that. Very, very much appreciated. Any other comments from anyone?
I just wanted to mention that the photos that I gave you all for the cemetery, that happened after the fact, after I submitted my report. This month we've been inundated with election preparation, and just a reminder, early voting starts July 25th, so we're really up to our ears in that. But then over the 4th of July weekend, we had a little inclement weather, and the result is which I sent these pictures to you. This, unfortunately, was a very large tree, but it was not in the cemetery. If you noticed, it was on private property. It fell over the fence. This is what happens when trees are dead and diseased. And FYI, there's a few more of these inside Finley Cemetery that they're quite large, and they're, you know, I mean, I submitted information to hopefully remove them as soon as we can. And I know that sounds upsetting and not caring, but again, this is the result of storms and bad weather when trees are not as healthy as they should be. So we have to go back out because it's still laying there like that. I have to take better pictures and investigate headstone damage and whatnot. So I'm gonna get better pictures and then get it cleared out as soon as possible. And then reach out to two potential residents whose property this actually was on. We have a really good idea. One of our, I call him the Finley Cemetery guru, John Dykstra. Thank you, Dennis, for letting us borrow him as often as we do. he knows that area, he can walk it and name everybody in there in his sleep. We are pretty sure we have the residential address for the people who own this part of the property where the tree fell. So just wanted to show you in detail, here's what happens when trees are around longer than they should be.
Thank you.
What's the status of the parking lot?
You mean next to the lift station?
The 10 spaces we
Oh,
lost?
10, so once it's backfilled, John, I know, I saw him removing forms today, so I would assume it's gonna be backfilled shortly, and then those 10 spaces will be back in
Okay,
operation.
so no repair work has even been done on
Nope.
our part? Okay.
No, it was done more as a precaution, we could have been okay, but, they went a lot longer than we thought in terms of pulling the permit and then actually pouring forms, so we communicated with them, they came out and they, did what they could to, put up supports, but we just thought, we're gonna play it safe so that we don't run into a bigger issue for ourselves.
Thank you.
And before we go, could I introduce our new administrative assistant, the lovely young lady sitting back there with the black hair, Emma Hondorp. She's met you all per video. But there she is. Please stop by and say hello.
Welcome aboard. Is there any other board member comment?
I got one thing. I got to experience the emergency services of the township, and I wanted to say thanks, but I see all the emergency guys are gone.
Yeah, they had an emergency.
But, yeah, you end up really appreciating what the township offers and the value of that, when you're in a tough situation. So, and mine ended up not being that bad. It was almost embarrassing. So they show up, they haul me away in an ambulance, and it turns out to be a back spasm that I had. And I thought it was, in fact, I asked them, please throw something else in there, heart. A little bullet wound, bullet wound. But anyway, I very much appreciate the services we have here at Ada.
Just a word on that. You can't believe this is years ago going into history, when we wanted to take the fire department from day only to a 24-hour shift. We got so much pushback, but it was within probably 5 or 6 months after doing it, we received nothing but letters and thank yous, and we are a community that cares, and that really shows it.
Glad you're doing well, Dan.
Yeah. Doing better than I do.
I'd just like to make a comment to Director said that, first off, we still got about 6 months of you, so this is not goodbye. But at the moment, the fact that you made the announcement, I want to say what a pleasure it's been working with you through the years. And certainly was a change from our previous planner who was here many, many years, but you've added a whole framework and organization to the community that's really, really appreciated. And so I'm looking very forward to all your work over the next several months to finish up what your most important piece of work here at the township. And so just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd echo that as well, of course.
Yeah. Same, but I was gonna say you can't leave.
I'm still around as a area resident anyway. Thank you.
Frankly, I'm a bit envious. All right, anything else from anyone? Okay, so we'll go on to just an opportunity for additional public comment. Would any members of the public like to come up at this point to speak to us for a few minutes?
My name is Adam Feenstra with Feenstra & Associates, and I was here with Mr. Dave Woods, the owners of and developer of the 60 Ada Hills, the rezone. I'm a little disappointed that we weren't given an opportunity to provide a counterpoint to the presentation given by the planner. I the only reason why we even submitted this was because the master plan changed this area from rural residential to neighborhood residential 3 years ago. So we thought this was what you guys wanted, and now we're being told that that change was a mistake, evidently. So if that's the way it is, I guess that's the way it is, but I would request that you guys make sure your master plan is up to date with what you actually want.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'll go ahead and close the second public comment and ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Hurwitz, supported by trustee Carter to adjourn at 1:43. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. So we're finished for today, everyone. Thank you.